Hello YouTube, Tom Brennan speaking. I am the Managing Director of a UK-based MSP. We're called Info Technology and we're based out of Manchester. I'm recording this as I've spent hundreds of hours in the past couple of months speaking to over 50 MSPs in pretty much every English-speaking country in the world, all of whom are experiencing the same problem, which is a lack of leads. Everyone seems to be kind of sat waiting for referrals, and sat waiting for inquiries from their website, which may or may not arrive. Growing MSPs from referrals is possible. I've seen it done. You can turn an MSP into a multi-million pound business just from referrals alone. It takes a long time. I would prefer not to be sat waiting for inquiries to be handed to me on a silver platter, which is why we started to do outbound marketing about 4 or 5 months ago. So the title does look very clickbaity, my apologies, but it is absolutely the truth. So we have generated now over 7 figures in engaged leads for our MSP, and the spend of that has just been tools, which comes to a little bit less than $1,000 last time I checked, and obviously just my time inputting into this, which has been maybe 20 to 30 hours a week initially, obviously learning the process and failing miserably to start with, and then that has become maybe 10-15 hours a week. If people do like this, I will make more videos. By no means am I going to consider myself a YouTuber at this stage, but if this method is a lot easier, I think, than text in portraying information, and sometimes maybe easier than calls, because people can rewatch this and it can help people with certain steps. And yeah, again, I'm no expert in this process. All I can say is that I spent 18 months failing miserably on generating new business and winning new business, and we are on the right track. So I will share what is working and what has worked for us as we go. If people find it useful, fantastic. If they don't, then I just will make videos, and that's fine. I'll jump straight into this. So the most important thing on here, I've done this in priority order. I would imagine most IT people would think I would come to the tools section first, which is not the case. That is the least important bit. The tools do not matter in the slightest. How they're set up matters, but the first few slides are the most important. So why is picking an avatar or a niche or an industry important for marketing? Essentially helps you stand out from the market. Every MSP I know, every MSP I've seen on the internet is a generalist in terms of their marketing. They do IT support for small, medium, large enterprise businesses. You can stand out from that market by picking an industry and tailoring your marketing and your services to that industry. How do we pick a niche? So if you were an MSP with customers, I would advise picking a niche within your customer base, purely from the fact that you've got social proof, you've got people to speak to when it comes to messaging, which we'll come on to in a second. Picking one, I just scored all of our industries out of 10 on if I like working with them first and foremost. Did they pay well? Did they value the service? It doesn't need to be a super in-depth conversation. We're going to pick one and we're going to stick to it for at least 6 months, and we'll come on to the timings in a second. This is important for pricing purposes. So when you become an expert in or a specialist in a particular industry for IT services, whether that's accounts, whether that's finance, whatever it may be, you can solve their particular pain points and you can replicate it across very similar businesses. Therefore, you can charge more money. So for an example, we work with recruitment agencies. We are a specialist IT and tech company for recruiters in the UK. And we will stick with that industry for at least another 6 to 12 months, in my opinion, before adding on other ones. So I was in a sales meeting with a recruitment agency, a big client, and they had gone to other MSPs in the area to obtain pricing, which is perfectly normal. I wouldn't expect any less. We were just less than 3 times more expensive than all of the other MSPs, but the other MSPs didn't have a big list of recruitment clients who were willing to give written, verbal, video, on the phone testimonials to how good we were. They weren't experts in solving recruitment specific problems, and we are. So that is why the price is 3 or 4 times more expensive, and we won that client, we won that deal, because we are an expert in that field. Most MSPs, when people are looking to move IT providers, The reason is it's purely price. They want to try and save a little bit of money, and they will basically let MSPs fight over a couple of pound or a couple of dollars per month, which is not fun for anybody. We don't discount our pricing. So when you become, or when you arrive in a position where you are a specialist in a particular area, imagine being able to onboard a client for 2, 3, 4 times the value of other MSPs or what you've been doing previously. Essentially, if you can do that, you should 2, 3, 4x your business growth and the revenue that you're making. Important point here, another one, doesn't need to be forever. We've picked recruitment. We will stick with recruitment. We've been doing recruitment for about 4 or 5 months, and we will add in other industries when I'm fully confident that we've got a regular stream of leads across multiple different channels for recruitment agencies. There are 10,000 recruiters in the UK who could potentially be our clients. If we were to bring on board 1% of those businesses, which would be 100 clients with the pricing that we have, we'd be a multi-million-pound MSP profit comfortably. And then finally, this one gets me because, again, I've spoken to a load of MSPs recently, and the hesitancy in picking an industry, even if it's just for a particular time period, is they're leaving so much business on the table. And as far as I'm aware, most MSPs do not get leads from any method, and the ones they do get are from the website, and they're unqualified and terrible. So instead of being a really small fish in the ocean, why not be a really big fish in a small pond initially? From our experience, this has done wonders for bringing in new business in a particular sector. Messaging is equally as important. So what we are not going to do is blast out thousands of emails selling IT services, because if it were that easy, everybody would do that in the entire world for every business and everyone would be millionaires, which we're not. So finding pain points in their own language and specific to their business is what's key with this. So again, I'll go back to the recruitment example because that's what I know best. The priorities and the pains for recruitment agency owners are making sure that their recruiters are increasing their billing, hitting their billing targets. Essentially, they're selling. So we can word our messaging in a way that we can use technology to help your team hit their billing targets on a regular basis. And there are multiple different ways you can spin this. You can split test different wordings for what's the priority for the particular industry. And split testing it is super important. I would advise everybody to do it. You're finding pain points that's relevant to that industry, and that's what helps you stand out in a super busy inbox, in my opinion. And then we're selling the call, not the service. There's not too much to say on this. Essentially, initially we're selling a response from someone to book in a call. As far as I'm aware, there's never been a situation in the history of cold outreach where someone has bought from a first contact email. Someone is not going to say, hey, Mr. MSP, this sounds great. Send me a proposal and here's my credit card details. That is never, ever going to happen. So we're not going to throw in loads of sales talk. We'll save that for a sales pitch if we get there. The aim of this is to sell an introduction call to qualify them as a potential client of yours. Email copy needs to be super short, super concise. Data that I've read recently states that the average cold email is read for about 12 seconds. So if you've not hooked somebody within the first 12 seconds, then likely your email is going to go into the bin and never be read again. So how do we do this? We keep it really short. We keep it in a way that children could read it, because again, we want people to be able to absorb all the information we're giving them in a couple of seconds. So no more than say 75 or so words in any email, first contact or follow-ups. Keep the words really short, to the point. Read them out loud as well, because if it sounds silly when you're reading them, it's going to be difficult and sound silly when people are reading them from the opposite end. And I think there's a tool online called Hemingway app, I think it might be called, where you can put your email copy into this app, and it will tell you what age reading level the text is at, and it will basically tell you how to make it so it's at a younger age, and we want to be as low as possible. I think our campaigns sit at a 7-year-old reading age at the moment, so the lower the better with this. Always use open-ended questions, which again should be obvious in marketing. We don't want to give people an easy out to just respond with a yes or a no. We want to engage in a conversation and get them to respond. Cut the crap. People don't need a hey, how are you, or I'm so and so from so and so. It's a waste of reading a mind space. Delete all that. Signature should just be your name and your business name, or maybe even just your name. They don't need 4, 5, 6 line signatures. It's a waste of space. Write an email and go through it for hours, if not days, and cut out as many words as humanly possible in there, and that will definitely result in more responses for you. Insider language, again, comes back to the pain points question. So me using words like billing and ROI and targets to recruitment agencies, that fits, and that will hit them. They'll read it and think, oh, this guy knows about recruitment because he's using words that I would use. You need to do the same for whichever sector you pick. And how do we find this out? We ask. If you've got clients in the sector, go and meet them for a coffee and ask them what business pain points and business priorities they have, and make sure you note them down or record the conversation, because we're going to use that exact wording in the messaging part of it. URLs, none of them, especially in the first contact email, we do not want to give their email server an excuse to block our email, because the first aim of cold email is to land in someone's mailbox first and foremost. If we don't get there, we could have the best copy in the world and people wouldn't read it because they don't know it existed. So no URLs, no calendar links, no website links, especially not in the first contact email. If we do want to drop in a link to a case study or a testimonial in further emails, never the first contact one, then we may do so. But yeah, URLs in the first contact email, keep it to 0. And then follow-ups, which is an interesting one. So I read some data the other day that it takes an average of 12 touch points before a cold lead engages in an introduction call. So not even a sales meeting. 12 touch points on average for someone who doesn't know you exist to agree to a sales call. So emailing someone once and sending them one message on LinkedIn is you may win some business from that, but you're never going to win consistent business from doing that. Keep in mind, 3% of any target industry is ready to buy your service at any time. So 97% of the people that you're going to be reaching out to are not ready to buy your service, and that's okay. They have other things that matter more to them at the moment in time. So you keeping top of mind by maybe doing a sequence in a 14-day period where we hit them with 4 or 5 touch points, and then we stop and we slow it down. We email them or call them once every 2 to 4 weeks. Not pushy, not salesy, maybe providing some value. Hey, I found this article that's relevant to your business. I thought you might like it. Here's a new case study or customer success story that we've got live on our website. Just thought you might like to read it because it's similar to your business. And again, we couldn't do this if we weren't focusing on one industry. But yeah, case studies and articles relevant to a specific sector is providing value. And the aim is to be top of mind. So when that person is ready to buy, we're the first people they come to. And I've had multiple leads re-engage with me after 3, 4, 5, 6 months of my first contact email and said like, hey Tom, really sorry, but this, we were super busy with something at the time. This is great, can we jump on a call? And that wouldn't have happened if I just gave up after 2 touch points. So the follow-up is the most important part, because the likelihood is, well, not likelihood, it is fact that only 3% of people are ready to buy your service at any one time. We don't want to leave the other 97% hanging for somebody else to potentially close in future months or years. Expectations. So you will be terrible. My first month, I had sent 1,000 cold emails, 100 cold calls, and maybe 100 or so LinkedIn messages, and I didn't book one introduction call. And most people in that situation, I think, would have given up and just said that cold outbound doesn't work for MSPs. I didn't do that because I was like, this must work because people in other businesses are doing this and generating lots and lots of money. I've read books and seen videos and listened to podcasts of people who have become multi-millionaires from just cold outreach alone in their business. So you will be really bad, and that is okay. If you can't play the piano when you start playing the piano for the first time, you will be terrible. And that is just, it's a learning curve like everything else. Think of it as a new skill. So yeah, you've got my first month to go off. Your achievable goal could be, hey, I want to do better than Tom did, and I want to generate 1 booked meeting in the first month, and then you've done better than I did in my first 30 days. And don't give up. Again, if I'd have given up after the first month, then I would still be sat waiting for leads to come through our website. and I'll still be waiting for clients to give me referrals. But in my opinion, there's no way to grow a business. It can be done. Do this, fail, and then you will get better. If you don't give up, eventually you will be in a position where you are getting consistent lead flow on a weekly, if not daily basis from cold outreach. Finally, the how. So these are the tools and the process for kind of reaching the masses or reaching our target audience. So first and foremost, we need to buy a new domain. We do not want to use our primary domain for the business for cold outreach in case it gets blacklisted. 3 mailboxes per cold email domain is the most I would set up. DNS needs to be SPF, DMARC and DKIM configured properly because we do not want to give the recipient's email server an excuse to block our email. Scraping leads, Apollo, Lusher, Sales Nav, just Google lead scraping tool on the internet and try a few, see which one you prefer the most. Verifying leads we need to do because we want to make sure we're only sending emails to mailboxes that are still live, and you will never find a lead scraping source that is 100% accurate, even LinkedIn. Warm up and sequencing tool, again, go and try for you, see which one you prefer the most. I think Instantly is rated 10 out of 10 for ease of use on G2, so that's probably where I would start. However, if you're spending money on Apollo for a lead scraping tool, Apollo has a pretty good sequencing builder inside it. And then, as I mentioned before, fail some more, and then eventually you will earn some money. That covers pretty much everything. So I've not gone super deep with any of these because I wanted to give an overarching kind of opinion and view on the entire process. If people like this, let me know in the comments, and I will make future videos, and I will go into more detail on kind of the copy, what to look for, and a framework with the copy. I could do an instructional video on how to set up all the tools and the domains if that's of interest. This should just give you a starting block to go and do your own research, and there's no reason why you couldn't have an outbound email campaign live within a week or two if you start this process now. Again, I will leave my LinkedIn in the description section below. If you want to speak to me on anything outbound MSP related, I set aside a few hours a week to speak to MSPs all over the world, and hopefully I can help one of you guys make more money. If I can help one MSP generate one lead and close one lead, then it would have, the time making this video would have been worth it. And hopefully people found this useful. I will attempt to make future videos moving forward. Thank you so much for watching.